call out our next segment, which is on the theme of consciousness before carbon. The real climate battle is within the society. The conversation that urges us to shift the lens inward to the values, choices, and collective mindset that shape our world. So, without further ado, let's welcome our next set of panelists who will help us unpack this powerful theme. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished speakers for this theme. I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Rafiq Mankad, the CMD, Biotexas Energy Private Limited. Our next speaker, Mr. Sharad Garg, Business Development and Proposal Manager at Thermo Fisher Scientific. Mr. Gokul Pandian, Director of Ernst & Young. Mr. Amit Bose, Zonal Sales Manager, Ethanol Projects, Sona Machinery. And our last speaker, Mr. Rohit Kumar, the Secretary General, Ethanol Projects, CMAI. Let's welcome them with a warm round of applause on the stage, everybody. And now to guide us through this dynamic conversation, we again have our moderator amongst us, Mr. Guru Prasad Bangle, the co-founder and CTO, Solution Buggy. We welcome you here, sir. And now let's initiate this conversation. Let's take this session ahead. And all your questions for the previous session and for this session, we'll be taking it afterwards. And now let's begin with our panel discussion on the theme of consciousness before carbon.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was a wonderful session, the last one. And we're now moving over to the topic which we, I think, briefed a little bit on how, the carbon policy can be tweaked, or how the Indian market can look at carbon policy as such. And I have three stellar speakers with me who will be, walking us through their perspective on the carbon markets as such, and how it can be used in the Indian energy sector. So, as usual, I'll ask the speakers to speak about one or two lines about them, starting with Mr. Gokul. Over to you, Gokul.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gokul Pandian. I am working as a director in the Climate Change and Sustainability Services practice in UI. So we have been working in this space for the last 25 years or so on decarbonization, carbon markets, and the sustainability strategy, and policy advisory. And I've been with the firm for the last about 13 years or so. So we spread across pan-India, and then we have been working with almost all top companies in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokul. Next, I have Mr. Rafiq. Over to you, Rafiq.
Hello. Myself Rafiq Mankad from the Advanced Biofuel. हम लोग 12 साल से इस इंडस्ट्री में वर्कआउट कर रहे हैं इन द फील्ड ऑफ बायोडीजल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, बायोडीजल प्लांट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, एंड वी आर स्पेशलाइज्ड इन बायोडीजल प्रोडक्शन इन एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी. सो हम लोग ऑल ओवर इंडिया एंड वर्ल्ड वाइड ये प्रोजेक्ट सप्लाई कर रहे हैं. सो वी आर स्पेशलाइजेशन इन बायोडीजल एंड ऑल्सो वर्किंग इन CBG एंड इथेनॉल्स. या
Thank you, Rafiq. Next, I have Mr. Sharad from Thermo Fisher Scientific. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Sharad. I represent Thermo Fisher Scientific. So, Thermo Fisher Scientific is a US-based company, and we are a $42 billion company actively working in this clean energy space. We have a variety of analytical solutions, so process monitoring and analytical solutions which help you optimize the manufacturing. So whether you are manufacturing bioethanol, biodiesel, biosaf or biogas, so we work across the value chain and help you optimize the process. And so if you are able to get the yield, then only it makes sense to run a plant. So we help you bring out the yield of the plant. Thank you.
So you make sure your plants are hot enough. so that so it's a very even panel, as you can see, from the policy sector, from the from the equipment manufacturer, and from the efficiency side as well. So the first question to Mr. Gokul, since you are from the policy sector, what do you think lacks in the Indian carbon policy that maybe 4 or 5 points that you see will catapult us into the carbon credit, being a outlier in the carbon credit policy, into being right in the decision-making sector of the carbon credit policy?
Sure. So first, before that, I will quickly give some glance about
Sure.
what are the carbon markets which are getting evolved. Then I will be able to intertwine how the policies currently which can be enhanced so that it can lead to more benefit to the private sector that we are here. So what we see in the market is there are about 4 type of markets, carbon markets, which are going to evolve, or maybe evolving, I would say, globally as well as in the country. So first market, the first 2 markets are primarily around the Paris Agreement under Article 6.2 and Article 6.4. I'll explain in detail about that. And then the third one, we talking about the Indian carbon market scheme that we have. And the fourth one is the the greenhouse gas energy intensity target, which is a cap and trade scheme that we have in India. And beyond that, there is also, you have a voluntary market which exists, but that is also going to continue. So if you look at all these policies, some of them are actually a global policy, some of them are going to be the national policy. And like India, there are many countries, they have come up with their own carbon market policies as well as the carbon market scheme. So if you look at the larger purpose of these carbon markets, it's as good as that, it's going to be like a kind of a climate finance. That's going to say move from one country to another country in the interest of obtaining environmental attributes. So as part of the Paris Agreement in the 2015, every country, for that matter, they have actually given their nationally determined contribution, which means the country has given its global commitment to combat climate change across the world. For example, you would heard that India would like to reduce the overall carbon emission intensity by 45% by 2030 from its 2005 level. So this is one commitment that we gave. Similarly, that we have mentioned 50% of the installed capacity will be renewables by, say, 2030. So that's the second. And similarly, we are looking at 1 billion tons of carbon emission sink by 2030 from its current level. So these are some of the stands that we have taken. So similarly, every country has taken up their own indices. So now, how these are connected with the carbon markets? So every carbon market, if you look at either an Article 6.2 or a 6.4, or maybe the Indian carbon market or the voluntary carbon market, one way or the other, these are all linked with the larger country agenda. So the Article 6.2, first let me talk about it. Article 6.2 is a global country-to-country agreement which is under development. Some of the countries have actually started doing it, and India is at the pace of developing it. There is some discussions are going on between, say, India and countries like Japan, etc. So how this is going to exist, or maybe it's going to come out, is basically if any of the large technologies, including, say, green hydrogen, or it could be sustainable aviation fuel, which we spoke in the earlier session, or compressed biogas, which we spoke in the earlier session. There are about 14 technologies the country has identified where another country investor can come and invest in India, and then on these specific 14 technologies, and the environmental attributes will actually move from, say, India to their country, so that these attributes can be used for their to meet their nationally determined contribution. So that's how the Article 6.2 is going to work. The 6.4 that you look at, 6.4 is something like the clean development mechanism which exists in the past now has transformed to Paris Agreement crediting mechanism in the future, in the current state, and this is going to evolve. And again, India is going to only export the credits from, say, these identified 14 technologies, and all these credits can be exported to the other countries if they are willing to purchase it. And as I mentioned, the Indian carbon market scheme is primarily to enable the transfer of credits within the country, and then every project that every renewable energy or energy efficiency or alternate fuel projects that we implement in India, and every credit is going to get accounted only in India. It is not going to go outside of India. So which means that this is going to help our own NDC, so that you will be able to meet by, say, 2030 or so. The last one is a voluntary market. For example, if someone wants to put up a voluntary projects, and then they will be able to put up this to some of the voluntary registries like, say, Gold Standard or maybe BCS Vera, or it could be the Global Carbon Council, which is called GCC. So they can actually put the projects against them, and then they will be able to get the credits. But yeah, voluntary credits again can be used everywhere. It can get double accounted as well. But of course, the marketability of that credits also is like not as good as compared to the pecking order of like Article 6.2 or 6.4 or 6. On the Indian carbon market scheme. Okay, so this is how all of these are actually interconnected. So when it comes to the policy aspect of it, there are a couple of areas probably government of India must be working. So number one, how credits which are getting generated in India can be globally recognized. That's the first one. Second, India also has about, as I mentioned, there are 2-3 markets that we have. So one I mentioned is a carbon market scheme, and second is a cap and trade scheme, and third is a green credit scheme. So how all three schemes are going to speak to each other, and how this is going to get intertwined with the existing systems, which is like performance achieved trade or maybe the renewable energy certificates that we have. And if we get the synergy of all of these 3 items, so that is going to give a lot of benefits to the stakeholders, because somewhere or other we'll get a clear-cut picture of like every project that we implement, how long this scheme is going to be there, so that they're going to get a fixed revenue which is going to come either from the global market or from the local market.
Thank you. Just to add to that, I think a few weeks back I was talking to the Consul General of Norway, which happens to be a huge, contributor to the entire carbon scenario. And he was mentioning that the Scandinavian countries are already, maybe 10 steps ahead of us in creating this carbon credit market, and we need to take a cue from that. Something very exciting happening in this industry, just like how you trade commodities, you can start trading carbon credits, right? And most of the entrepreneurs here, or the entire Biofuel Meet, we are going to set up biodiesel or maybe biofuel or CBG plants, biomass briquettes, and each one of us will be obviously making carbon credits. And if that could be traded, then it becomes an added incentive, right, to set up these industries. Thank you. So I think moving over to रफ़ीक जी, एथेनॉल के बारे में इतना सुना है, सीबीजी के बारे में इतने पीआर आ रहे हैं, लेकिन बायोडीजल मार्केट को ऐसा स्टेप मदरली ट्रीटमेंट हो रहा है, आपको लगता है कि ऐसा हो रहा है? और सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज, बायोडीजल बाय एंड लार्ज यूज कुकिंग ऑयल से ही बनना चाहिए, बट palm stearin is also one major component that is coming in. Although a lot of these shipping industries are saying, methanol का use होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा, फलाना होगा, SAF में use होगा, things like that. Where do you think is the right standard, or where we are standing as of today?
As of now इस इंडस्ट्री के अंदर जनरली हम लोग जो सेशंस होते हैं जिसमें CBG, इथेनॉल के बारे में ज़्यादा डिस्कशन होती है, बल्कि बायोडीजल के बारे में इतना ज़्यादा डिस्कशन नहीं होता है। तो उसका अभी एक रीज़न है कि मार्केट के अंदर अवेयरनेस जो है वो इतनी कम है कि लोगों को ये नहीं पता है कि अल्टरनेट फ्यूल के अंदर बायोडीजल भी एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है। जिसे इथेनॉल पेट्रोल का रिप्लेसमेंट करते हुए वर्किंग कर रहा है, तो डीजल का रिप्लेसमेंट भी हम लोग बायोडीजल के थ्रू कर सकते हैं। वो भी एक फ्यूल ही है कि जहाँ पर उसका एमिशंस के ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्ट होता है, कार्बन के ऊपर भी बहुत ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्ट हो रही है, और उसका यूजेस जो है इंडस्ट्री के अंदर सबसे ज़्यादा यूजेस हो रहा है जहाँ पर भी डीजल का कंजप्शन हो रहा है। और हर एक इंडस्ट्री एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सेक्टर जो है वो सबसे ज़्यादा यूजेस जो है वो डीजल का करता है कंपेयर टू पेट्रोल। तो उसकी अवेयरनेस कम होने की वजह से इंडिया के अंदर इतना बायोडीजल का बिजनेस जो है वो डेवलप नहीं हो पाया है। हालांकि सबसे ज़्यादा लीडिंग जो है वर्ल्ड वाइज देखा जाए तो यूएसए, ब्राज़ील एंड इंडोनेशिया के अंदर इसका प्रोडक्शन बायोडीजल का ज़्यादा है। तो इंडिया के अंदर अपना जो टोटल कंजप्शन है उसके सामने जो अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट है स्टिल 2030, तो वो गवर्नमेंट टारगेट 5 to 7% है, जहाँ पर हम लोग अचीवमेंट जो है वो 0.5% तक ही कर पाए हैं। तो अगर देखा जाए तो बायोडीजल का इंडस्ट्री का स्केल बहुत बड़ा है और फ्यूचर के अंदर भी इसकी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ ज़्यादा हैं। जो आज का हमारा सेशन का पॉइंट के अंदर कार्बन क्रेडिट का भी एक हिस्सा रहा है, तो कार्बन क्रेडिट के अंदर भी बायोडीजल प्लांट्स के अंदर जो प्रोडक्शन होता है उस प्रोडक्शन के अंदर आप कार्बन क्रेडिट अपने क्लेम कर सकते हैं, उसको ओपन मार्केट में ट्रेड कर सकते हैं। तो ये अपॉर्चुनिटी भी एक बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी है इस इंडस्ट्री के अंदर। दूसरी बात ये है हर एक बिज़नेस का एक स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट होता है, जहाँ पर एमएसएमई के जो प्रेजेंटेशन था सर ने बताया कि हर एक बिजनेसमैन जो है एक लो इन्वेस्टमेंट रेंज से एंटर होना चाहता है और फिर जाके स्टेप बाय स्टेप एक नए बिज़नेस के अंदर इन्वेस्टमेंट करके उसको कंटिन्यू डेवलप करना चाहता है। तो बायोडीजल बिज़नेस जो है वो इनिशियली लो इन्वेस्टमेंट से स्टार्टअप हो सकता है और उसके बाद जो आप उसमें अपग्रेडेशन करते हुए टेक्नोलॉजिकल अपग्रेडेशन फिर अदर्स फ्यूल को भी उसके अंदर ऐड करते हुए आप इस इंडस्ट्री को स्केल बढ़ा सकते हो। लेकिन बायोडीजल जो है वो लोवेस्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट से भी स्टार्ट आज की डेट में हो रहा है, बिकॉज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी जो है वो काफ़ी ईजी है, प्रोसेस भी काफ़ी ईजी है। तो आप इसको चाहे लोकल एरिया, रूरल एरिया के अंदर भी डेवलप करना चाहे जहाँ पर रॉ मटेरियल की अवेलेबिलिटी कम हो, वैसे एरिया के अंदर भी आप छोटे छोटे प्लांट लगाकर भी इसका डेवलपमेंट हो सकता है। और हम लोग एग्रीकल्चर के अंदर भी यूजेस करते हैं जहाँ पर लाइट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है, तो आज की डेट में भी वहाँ पर डीजल इंजन चलते हैं। तो डीजल इंजन की जगह पर आप डीजल की जगह पर बायोडीजल का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। जहाँ पर स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री है तो जिनको डीजल का कंजप्शन कॉस्ट वाइज या तो उनकी अवेलेबिलिटी के हिसाब से जहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम है तो वहाँ पर भी प्रोडक्शन कर सकते हैं। तो एक इजी बिजनेस है, लेकिन उसकी अवेयरनेस कम होने की वजह से इतना डेवलप नहीं हुआ है सर।
थैंक यू। पर थोड़ा कन्फ्यूजन तो है ही, क्योंकि Delhi is banning diesel engines beyond 15 years. Mumbai will again go that way. Bangalore is also looking at that as an option. So obviously people might feel that there is a stepmotherly treatment being done to the diesel industry as such. But like how you said, transportation being such a huge dependent on diesel, both land as well as shipping industry, of course policy has to be made more favorable, more PR needs to be done, and also on the raw material availability, UCO by itself in India is a concept which becomes very difficult to explain because we do not discard cooking oil after one use, obviously. So it's multiple number of times it's being used, and then by the time it's discarded, it's lost all its properties. Palm styrene is India. It'll again lead to import deficits by importing it from countries like Malaysia and things like that. So, but then overall, writing on the wall is we will go towards biodiesel, not to the extent of ethanol, but obviously we are making small steps towards it. Question to you, Mr. Sharath. We talk to a lot of MSMEs when they initially want to set up the plants. They look at capex as, try to reduce capex as much as possible. And the technology that they are looking at should be, making the MVP, the minimum viable product. And as long as it works, it's fine, right? They are not too keen on looking at efficiency or looking at how I can save cost and things like that. All he wants to make sure is that plant chal raha hai at least 300 days of the year, and he already is firefighting with so many day-to-day issues. So how do you educate the MSME segment? Obviously, the about 200 crore kind of investment people, they understand the entire life cycle, and they will obviously look at technology from your companies. How do you educate an MSME that even when he sets it up, he should have that mentality of getting into the efficiency part of it, and also look at long-term sustainability?
So thanks for the question. So the biggest part of the biogas plant is so for any plant, profitability is something that anyone looks at. So if I'm running a biogas plant, say less than somewhere around 5 TPD or less than 10 TPD, then getting customer educated or having them use our instruments, the analytical portion is quite tough. But when you see the struggle that they go through, so if you don't characterize your feedstock, or you are not able to know what kind of molecules you are getting into the digester for the pre-treatment hydrolysis, then it becomes a real struggle. So they lose on the time, they lose on the efficiency, and it also is very difficult part for them. So getting MSMEs educated that this part will help them characterize the feedstock so that they can have an efficient digestion, after which the purification system, if they want to sell it to the natural biomethane to the OMCs, oil marketing companies, so it is mandatory that they have this much purity of natural biomethane. So validating that part, and also if the natural gas is say 95, 96 or 97% pure, so if they are able to measure, so when the biogas gets from 95 to 97%, mere 2% increase will help you get better pricing on the basis of MMBTU. So the heat value increases and let you get more returns out of it. So it is quite a struggle to get MSMEs educated in the first part, but when you give an example of the plant which has already been struggling, even the bigger plants have been struggling, so they somehow can tackle, and we kind of rent or loan the instrument to show the performance as well. So when talking about the biogas plant, so right from feedstock characterization to the digester monitoring to the validation of the upgradation system to measuring the off gases, and then knowing the quality of biomethane which is being injected into the grid or for the cascades, everything can be done, and there are models which can be worked out for the smaller plants. So capex is obviously there, but then the returns are there within 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Thank you.
So the writing is, the market is tough to crack, especially in the MSME market. But if it is not a tough market, then obviously we don't need people like Sharad to be working on the Indian market, right? So I think continuing on that aspect of MSMEs, a question to Gokul. See, a lot of these policies happen at a very 30,000 feet level is what most of the MSMEs feel. How do you think that these policies, which are done at largely at the ministry level, can be trickled down? The carbon policy makes sense for the ministry and for the global environment and things like that. But for an MSME who's running his CBG plant, his day-to-day struggles are completely different. How can it be trickled down in such a way that it makes economic sense for him to run the plant as per the carbon policies?
Yeah. So if you, MSME, of course, I have also worked with them in the past. We also understand the struggles, and we have been also at some different forums that we have been speaking about it. When it comes to the carbon policy, as you correctly said, it is still at a 30,000 level, and of course, one way is going to get trickled down across all of them. But if an MSME would like to take up a carbon credit based project, for example, any project that they would like to put up, and if they want to go for carbon credits, the best option is to bundle them into packages, right? So an MSME based association can actually take that initiative. It happened in the past as well. It can happen definitely in the future. So earlier, what used to happen is that, I would say about 10, 15 years ago, even solar and wind projects were not, individually profitable, right? I mean, like only one or two, say, 1,000 kilowatt, maybe 1 megawatt or 2 megawatt plants on a standalone basis is not going to get beneficial for an individual to go to United Nations, because the cost is going to be extremely high. So that's where the association have taken up that responsibility, and then they identified a similar project of the nature within that area, and then they go for a single bundled project to the United Nations so that the overall cost can be reduced. That is number one. Number two is that there are many cases what we have seen is that people will not just like that stop with only one project. For example, I put up 1 metric cube, then I can add 1 more metric cube, then I'll add 10 metric cube. So then there will be one way or the other the companies will keep on adding this project. So that also you have an option in the carbon market which is called the program of activities. So it's something like this that there will be a parent document which talks about what a company needs to do, and then there is going to be a satellite documents which will keep on adding it to that parent document, so that over a period of say 15 to 20 years, if the particular project qualifies the requirements of the United Nations, then that project will get approved and then they will be able to generate credits, right? So that will be helpful for the MSMEs. It's going to be applicable across all the 4 market schemes which I spoke about earlier.
Perfect. Rafiq ji, आपके लिए एक क्वेश्चन. तो if you look at the different state policies, if an entrepreneur comes to you and says that ठीक है मुझे biodiesel plant लगाना है, which state would you recommend?
स्टेट वाइज देखा जाए तो सर हर एक स्टेट के अंदर अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ है, क्योंकि हमारा कंजप्शन हर घर में है. तो अपॉर्चुनिटी के लिए स्पेसिफाइड स्टेट की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बल्कि ऑल ओवर इंडिया हम लोग हर जगह पर उसको डेवलप कर सकते हैं. तो वैसे कोई सिलेक्शन की हमें ज़रूरत नहीं है. दूसरी बात यह है कि बायोडीजल को लेकर एक मान्यता चल रही है कि बायोडीजल जो है सिर्फ यूज़ कुकिंग ऑयल से बनता है. हालांकि ऐसा नहीं है. बायोडीजल के लिए काफ़ी सारे रॉ मटेरियल अवेलेबल है इंडियन मार्केट के अंदर, जहां पर हमें इंपोर्ट की भी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑफ के हमारे यहाँ पर एडिबल इंडस्ट्री जो है वो काफ़ी बड़ी है, क्योंकि हम लोग एग्रीकल्चर बेस्ड कंट्रीज़ में हैं. तो जहाँ पर भी एडिबल ऑयल का प्रोडक्शन होता है, उनका बाई प्रोडक्ट नॉन एडिबल ऑयल है, जहाँ पर एसिड ऑयल निकलता है, और उसके अलावा भी काफ़ी सारे प्रोडक्ट्स जो है उनके लिए वेस्ट है. तो उन काफ़ी सारे वेस्ट ऐसे हैं जिनमें से हम लोग बायोडीजल बना सकते हैं, और ये हर एक स्टेट के अंदर है. जैसे आप एमपी की बात करें तो सोयाबीन का प्रोडक्शन वहाँ पर ज़्यादा है, तो सोयाबीन एसिड ऑयल वगैरह अपने को ईजी मिल जाता है. गुजरात की बात करें तो कॉटन का प्रोडक्शन काफ़ी बड़ा है, तो कॉटन सीड ऑयल मिल जाता है. तो उसके अलावा भी काफ़ी सारे प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो नॉन एडिबल ऑयल के अंदर मार्केट के अंदर सेल हो रहे हैं. तो वो सारे रॉ मटेरियल जो है एज ए रॉ मटेरियल हम लोग बायोडीजल बनाने के लिए यूज़ कर सकते हैं, और इकोनॉमिकल वायबल भी है, जहाँ पर हमें इंपोर्ट की ज़रूरत नहीं रहती है सर. तो दिस इज़ द बेस्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर एवरीवन, बिकॉज ऑफ ये अफोर्डेबल प्राइस के अंदर और इकोनॉमिकल वायबल प्रोजेक्ट है. तो आप किसी भी स्केल से इसको स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं और किसी भी लोकेशन पे स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. या
थैंक यू. A question to Sharath before I open it up for the questions to the audience. Sharath, you represent a US-based company. So one, kind of pertinent question that keeps coming up is how much of a customization do you do, or is it required for you to do for the Indian market?
So we are a US-based company, but the company has started manufacturing in India. So 3 years back, we started manufacturing in India. The plant is in Nashik, and if you are aware of the air quality monitoring stations which are used to measure the AQI, 70% of the air quality measurement instruments are manufactured in India by Thermo Fisher under Make in India initiative. And so are the analytical instruments, so gas chromatographs, mass spectrometers, everything is being manufactured in India. And now the plan is to even export it for the other Asia Pacific market. So since it is being manufactured in India, so we have a full scope of customization. So everything can be done to match the plant requirements, and so is being done. So I'll give you a case. So the IOCL's 3G ethanol plant, so the first in the world. So what they're doing is they are using this refinery of gases and feeding it to a inoculum or bacteria. So that bacteria is very critical. The cost of bacteria is in crores. So for the fast analysis part, they are using Indian-made mass spectrometer, manufactured by Thermo Fisher, obviously. For the optimization, so they need to monitor the gases which are going to the inoculum so that no dangerous gases are going, nothing damages, and also monitor the output, so how much ethanol is being produced. So that itself tells you the health condition of the bacteria, and that product was customized for the customer. So we have the capability, and everything can be done in India itself to match the requirement.
Thank you, Sharad. I think we are running very close to the lunch time, but we do have a few hands. Maybe one or two questions that we can take up. Somebody can pass on the mic, please. Can somebody pass on the mic?
Hello. Yes, hi Rafiq ji. Great session by Guru Prasad ji, led by Guru Prasad ji. Thank you very much. My name is Shashwat. I have two questions, but they are simultaneous. So first part you can answer Rafiq ji, and second part Sharad ji. In the case of ethanol production, there is a segment where grain-based industries are coming up. Grain-based ethanol, as a feedstock, like broken rice and maize is used. So what is the share of those industries right now, and what is the current status of how is it coming up, and what do you see that industry in 10 years? And to Sharad ji, how can a grain-based ethanol plant improvise its efficiency, and what are some aspects, some bottlenecks that they can look upon? Thank you.
आपका क्वेश्चन इथेनॉल प्लांट को लेकर है, राइट? जो हमारा अचीवमेंट है इन द 2025, तो 20% तक का जो टारगेट था इंडियन गवर्नमेंट का, जो हम लोग काफ़ी अचीव कर चुके हैं. और नेक्स्ट पॉलिसी जो है उसका अपडेट जब तक आएगा तब तक हम लोग नेक्स्ट परसेंटेज क्या होगा वो हम लोग अभी कह नहीं सकते. लेकिन इंडस्ट्री का स्केल जो है वो काफ़ी बड़ा है सर, बिकॉज ऑफ के अदर्स कंट्री, जैसे हम लोग, मैं ब्राज़ील की बात करूं तो ब्राज़ील के अंदर लगभग 38 to 40% तक का प्रोडक्शन है इथेनॉल का, जिसके ऊपर उनके व्हीकल्स जो है वो फ्लेक्सी फ्यूल इंजन यूज़ करते हैं, और 40% तक उसका ब्लेंडिंग हो रहा है एज़ पर द नेशनल बायोफ्यूल एसोसिएशन के रिकॉर्ड के मुताबिक. इंडिया के अंदर 20% तक अगर हम ब्लेंड कर रहे हैं तो आने वाले वक्त के अंदर भी टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट होगा. जैसे आज की डेट में ट्रेंड में जो है इथेनॉल प्लांट के अंदर जो ट्रेंड में जो चल रहा है वो चल रहा है 2G, 3G, और उसके साथ साथ में AI टेक्नोलॉजी, LOT टेक्नोलॉजी, जिसके बेसिस के ऊपर नए प्लांट जो है वो डेवलप होंगे, और उसके अकॉर्डिंग कॉस्ट वाइज इकोनॉमी के वायबिलिटीज़ जो है उसको लाने की कोशिश की जा रही है. तो शायद हो सकता है आने वाले वक्त के अंदर टेक्निकल चेंजेस होंगे और उसके अकॉर्डिंग प्रोडक्शन जो है वो ईजी हो जाए, इकोनॉमिकल हो जाए, और फ्यूचर जो है सर इसका काफ़ी लंबा रेस है ये. इट्स नॉट फॉर द 5 years, 10 years और 20 years, बट ये हमारे लिए एक सिक्योरिटी का भी पार्ट है फॉर द एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी. जिस तरीके से हम इंपोर्ट के ऊपर हमारा फोकस हो रहा है, और 80% एनर्जी जो है आज की डेट में हम लोग फॉसिल फ्यूल से जनरेट करते हैं. तो अगर इन केस ऑफ किसी क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन के अंदर हमें कुछ करना पड़ा तो उस केसेस के अंदर हम बायोफ्यूल का यूज करते हुए अपनी एक सिक्योरिटी जो है वो डेवलप कर सकते हैं. दिस इज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट.
इज देयर अ शिफ्ट हैपनिंग फ्रॉम is there a shift happening from sugar-based ethanol production to green-based ethanol production?
सर टेक्निकल चेंजेस जो होंगे वो फ्यूचर में काफ़ी सारे होंगे और शुगर बेस इंडस्ट्रीज जो है वो ऑलरेडी वेल डेवलप्ड है, तो उसके अंदर अभी हम लोग चेंजेस करें तो वो शुगर इंडस्ट्रीज़ के अंदर चेंज करने से ज़्यादा बेटर होगा कि आप नई इंडस्ट्री डेवलप करें और उसको आप रिवाइज करें तो ज़्यादा बेटर है सर. या
Maybe Sharad can answer the last part of the question and then we can wind up.
Yes, so the major portion of ethanol production is molasses. So molasses B, molasses C. Molasses B is already being done. Molasses C is something which is being developed. We do see something coming up on the 3G part. 4G ethanol is also coming up. From the technology point of view, what optimizes your processes? So the sugar is something which is fermented to make ethanol, right? You need to know these sugar. So if I talk about the lignocellulosic mass, it comprises of lignin, cellulose and hemicellulose. So cellulose is something which needs to be made available for the fermentation to be converted to the ethanol part. So knowing the composition in terms of cellulose, hemicellulose, complex sugar, maltase, dextrose and everything, that is what we can do, so that you are sure about the yield that you can get out of your lignocellulosic mass. And at last there are many inhibitants, so hydroxymethyl furfural, glycerine, and these are some of the inhibitors. We can measure that as well. Know the purity of ethanol which is being manufactured. So removing the inhibitors after during the manufacturing process and also characterizing the sugar. That is how we do for the ethanol industry, the optimization.
Thank you. In fact, ethanol is such a big industry that the byproducts itself, most of the MSMEs can look at, manufacturing inputs into the ethanol manufacturing unit, which itself can become a big industry. Okay, so I think again a wonderful session that we have had. Thank you once again to all the panelists and to all the audience for being such a good audience and hearing us out and picking the brains of the experts over here. Thank you Gokul, thank you Rafiq, and thank you Sharad for spending your time here.
All right, thank you so much to all our esteemed panelists for that very enlightening and enriching discussion that we had. Your insights have truly sparked new perspectives and inspired us on the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. And now, in the honor of the enlightening session that we have had, we would now like to present mementos to our distinguished speakers as a token of appreciation and gratitude. I would request Mr. N.K. Sehgal, the Senior Advisor, IES, to please come up to honor our guests. I would also request Mrs. Meenal Singh to come up and hand over the mementos to our distinguished speakers. And let's present the first memento to Mr. Guru Prasad Bangle. Next, we'd like to present our memento to Mr. Rafiq Mankad. We'd like to present our memento and our token of gratitude to Mr. Rafiq Mankad, the CMD at BioNexus Energy Private Limited. Next, we'd like to present our token of gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Sharad Garg, the Business Development and Proposal Manager, Thermo Fisher Scientific. We would now like to present our token of love and gratitude to Shri Gokul Pandian, the Director at Ernst & Young. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for this very enlightening session. Can we have a warm round of applause for this session?